David.
I saw your picture. I was like, Paul, you've aged.
we had to uh, we had to use Jonathan's account for this, unfortunately. So, hey guys, I think we'll just get started. I know we got a few more trickling in, but David, thanks so much for joining us, man. I know that you're a busy guy. We certainly want to be respectful of your time, and but really appreciate you joining us, David. If you don't mind, we got a few attendees on that are in our top 200. So, welcome everybody to this call. Can you just share a little bit about who you are and what you do within KWRI?
Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names on the list. Julie Youngblood, Scott Kuman, tons of the awesome people in the Southwest region. Thanks so much for having me. So first and foremost, I'm a real estate agent first. So I have a real estate sales business in Austin, Texas. I don't know that I would qualify for the top 200 in the Southwest region, but we're not a super small business. I have a business partner, one buyer's agent, two admin. We're around 100 units a year. We did 91 units last year. We're on track for our goal of just north of 100, about 120 units this year. So not a small business. I still am in the field every day. Literally, I was negotiating for a refrigerator earlier this morning, and I was lucky enough to get to explain to a seller why we needed to pump a septic tank before the inspection happened last week. So I still do all the stuff that you guys do every day as an agent. What I do at KWRI in my other full-time job, I say, is I'm your advocate. So my job is to be the agent representation inside the building. And I work with the amazing Jason Abrams, who I know you guys know well, and Kelly Cody as my market center partner. So we're all part of Jason's team. And our job is to educate all of the people at KWRI about what it's like to be an agent. So Keller Williams is an interesting company because it's a company where all of the people that work for you in Austin are building and producing tools that they never will use as an end user. Meaning, let's remove real estate. If Keller Williams was a coffee company, everyone that worked here in Austin at headquarters would be drinkers of the coffee. And they would have opinions about the coffee, and they would know what it tastes like to the person that's using it at the end. Right now, and probably forever, when we go hire a marketing person or a course writer, we don't look for the best course writer for KWU that also sells real estate. And we don't look for the best marketing person that also is a real estate agent. We look for the best person that can do the job. And our hypothesis is if we teach and train those people to think more like real estate agents, that they'll build better things for you. And so that's what we try and do every day. We spend a lot of our time sitting with our product managers and sitting with our designers and sitting with our engineers and our course writers and our marketing people, so they think and act more like real estate agents, ending in you guys getting better products regardless of what department they're coming from. Now, by and large, a lot of that for me is technology, right? I spend more time with the technology side of things than I do with others, but our goal is to make sure that things are working at a high level and they get to you in a usable form. So
Sure. So, David, David's kind of kindly offered to come on and help kind of discuss at a high level how you guys are all in the top 200. So, how we can utilize Command and onboard you guys in terms of that process. David, how do you want to run this class?
Yeah, so I'd really just love to have a conversation, right? And I see there's a lot of people here. I'm sure there are plenty of people on this call who are using Command in some way, shape, or form. And I'm also sure there's a bunch of people on this call that are not using it at all. And really what my job is, if my job had a mission statement, my KWRI job had a mission statement, and I think Paul's would be this way too, is to help agents run more efficient, more profitable businesses. Like, period, that's what we do. And oftentimes that means helping agents use the tools that are given to them from Keller Williams. And oftentimes that's me having an honest conversation and saying, actually, I wouldn't change that, right? Like, I don't know that we're going to help you there. And so given what is going on with COVID, and I'm sure, hopefully everyone on this call and all the family and friends of yours are healthy and safe. When this all started and we didn't all know what was going to happen with real estate, I think now a lot of us are having our best months ever. I'm sure people on this call are doing that, right? My team's about to have their best July, followed by their best August if things keep on track with the way they are. So what we're trying to do is make sure that you know what tools exist for you and what struggles you might come along the way if you decide to make a switch. And I always like to start, Paul, if it's okay, I might share my screen.
Sure.
And you guys have probably all seen this before, but I just like to kind of lay the foundation of what we're talking about and how we think about agent businesses at KWRI. What you see on my screen is called the lead generation model, and it's the first public model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent second edition, whenever Gary gets time to finish writing that thing. But it's important for me to talk about this. Go ahead.
Sorry, it just came off.
Oh, it did? All right, I'll try again. How's that?
Perfect.
All right, sorry about that, guys. So I always like to show this because right now, if we tried to have a mastermind on this call about anything, we'd probably spend 15, 20 minutes at the beginning trying to define what every one of us, what's a lead mean to Julie Youngblood, and what's a lead mean to the Kenny Klaus team, and what's a lead mean to anyone that's on this call. It's all going to mean different things. So I always like to set the stage here with what it means as it pertains to our technology and how we think about it. We all know what this is, right? We all run prospecting-based marketing enhanced businesses. When we do that, we capture information. We think that information comes in one category, leads, right? I get names, phone numbers, email addresses, physical addresses. Those all show up in the form of a lead. A lead to us is someone I'm talking to and they're not talking back to me. So I'm in a one-way conversation with those people. Contacts, on the other hand, would be people that I'm in a two-way permission-based relationship with. Long story short, when I capture information as a lead, that relationship progresses to being a contact at some point. Leads and contacts make up our entire database, meaning everyone's database is made up of at least those two categories. Now, we understand that all of you guys have many other categories that make up your database too. You have your sphere of influence, and you have your past clients, and you have your VIPs, and I have my golfers, and we all have our people that are in our database segmented in many ways. Everyone has leads and contacts. This line that I draw here right below the database, this line represents intent. And what that is when someone in my database has intent to buy or sell, they cross this line and they land in this category called cultivate. Think of cultivate as all the people that have intent to hire a real estate agent, but we haven't yet set the appointment with, meaning they're more important than everyone in my database in some way, shape, or form because they represent near-term business, but I haven't yet converted them to the point that they're working with me. A lot of the things that you guys use in Cultivate now, you might use terms like hot, nurture, and watch, hot, warm, cold, ABC. You're classifying those people in some way, and usually it's with the proximity to which they're about to transact business. So Cultivate is where people live pre-appointment. These are also the place where transactions fall apart, right? These are the people that I ran into at my client event or at my kid's soccer game or at the grocery store that I think are going to do something. I don't do a great job of following up with them. And I see on social media 6 months from now that they bought a house or sold a house with a different agent. That's who lives in Cultivate. Those people that I never get to the appointment because I forget I'm out doing something else, right? I'm too busy. So that's Cultivate. Appointment through close, we all get, right? We all know what happens here. They go from Cultivate, hopefully to an appointment, become an active buyer or seller, go under contract, and close business at some point. So I just think it's important to talk about that and set the stage kind of how we think about the technology before we actually get in and talk about it. And I'm probably not going to get in and show any of it today, but I do want to help you guys understand that if this is a decision you choose to make, you say, hey, I think I could find some efficiency with Command. I think I could add a new tool to my tool belt. I think I could lose an expense. Something in that category, some of the things you might run into. So any questions? And I can see the chat, so feel free to jump into chat, raise your hand. I don't know how the whole webinar thing works, but feel free to put your questions in chat and we can try and, I like to answer as many as I can as we go on. That's the whole point here, so you guys have some information that pertains specifically to you. So let's pretend I'm thinking about making the move, right? I think that I can find some efficiency in command, or I'm sick of paying $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,500 a month for technology in my real estate business, and I can make some more profit there. One of the things that people struggle with the most that I find is how it works. It isn't necessarily, it's a misunderstanding that command does or doesn't do something that I need it to do. And what happens is, I'll remove real estate for a minute and go back to something really simple. Like if I bought a new washing machine and dryer tomorrow, how I did my laundry would change, right? I would put the soap in a different spot and the buttons would be in a different place, and it would spend more or less time in the washer and dryer than it did with my old washing machine. At the end of the day, what I'm accomplishing, clean, dry clothes, still happens. So how changes what doesn't change? Yeah, we all understand that washing machines and dryers are very easy to learn, right? Let's go to a cell phone. If I went from my iPhone to an Android next week, how I made phone calls would change, how I downloaded apps would change, how I looked at my bank statements and where my pictures lived and how I got my music, all of those things would change. It would still be accomplishing all the same things I needed it to accomplish. And so I think if you guys start to march down this path, a lot of where our big teams get hung up is they think it's broken when it's really not really understanding how it works. Paul and I and your market center tech trainers can be the guiding light as to how, if you can help us understand what you're trying to accomplish. That's our job. Our job is to make sure that how gets done the fastest, most efficient way and the way that the system's intended to work. It's your job as a rainmaker or an ops person, if you're on this call in that capacity, to help understand what you're trying to accomplish, and we'll marry those two together to make sure it gets done. So focusing on the what is a big thing for us. I think the other thing that we hear a lot, and this is just me being honest from teams and rainmakers, is permissions, right? Like I need permissions for my team. And the uncomfortable truth is it's not that any of the systems that we have today or the other CRMs you might be using have better permissioning than command. It's that you just have a kill switch. As a rainmaker, I have a kill switch if I'm using a third party because I can just shut off their access, right? And so we're working really hard. And I think what you'll see by the end of July is really, really robust team permissioning around command for contacts specifically. And then you'll see that start to roll through to other applets after that. So that's really, really close. But all that permissioning stuff should be here in the next 4 to 6 weeks, at least for the contacts applet where we'll roll it out first. And then it will kind of flow through to the rest of the product after that. I see a question here from Jeff. I'm stuck and I really can't move forward until labs corrects a pretty important issue I have with my account. So it looks like that's a submitted issue. I'm happy. So here's what I'm going to do for you guys. And Paul has the same access, but I just put my Calendly link in chat. You guys are all more than welcome to, for the top agents in your region. I'm happy to do this. If there's anything I can help with as it pertains to command and as it pertains to your business, it doesn't even have to be about command. It can be about anything. If there's something you think I can help with, feel free to grab that link. That's a direct link to my calendar. And my only ask there would be that we include Paul in that conversation so he can be a resource for you on the ground as well. So please do that. And I'll be happy to help out in any way I can. It's hard for me to diagnose with words. I have to, seeing it's a whole lot easier.
David, in addition to that, we've also, as a region, made up a Google form that you can put your details in and some information on kind of leading up to the course. So David and I can prepare to help you guys best. So let me just share my screen and show you exactly what we've done. So here, we're going to invite you guys to, a one-on-one consult where we're going to ask just for basic details like your units closed in the last 12 months, volume, members on your team, your top 3 lead sources, what applets do you use already effectively, and what are you wanting to use a lot better. So please fill out this form and then either get with me or go to that link with David's calendar and we'll schedule you in. In the meantime, we do have Julie Youngblood that's raised her hand. Julie, are you there?
I'm here.
Great, go far away.
Hi, David.
Hello, Julie Youngblood.
So I had a quick question, and I don't know if I'm getting in the weeds. Just tell me if I am, and we can move on. Around the referrals that come in through the referral network. So
Yes.
I've been getting a bunch of those recently, which is kind of cool. And the challenge is they come direct to me and not to my team account. So is that going to be something that we can switch in the future? So if I want to give that to an agent on my team, I can.
Yeah, so I experienced that same struggle as you did. I got 3 last week, and as you know, they come into your individual pipeline, and you kind of have to recreate the opportunity inside the team pipeline so you can then share it out with your agents. Yes, we're working to make sure that the permissions is the first set with the team, and then we've kind of got to go through all the applets and say, okay, now if I'm a team using referrals, how would I use it? Right, and what are the things I need to add or delete, or make sure happens here that would work for a team as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And for those of you guys that don't know Julie Youngblood in the region, she's crushing it with Command now. And Julie, I don't want to put you on the spot necessarily, but you were a big proponent of a relatively expensive third-party CRM prior to that.
That is accurate.
And now you have, I think, adopted, I think the how versus what for you specifically, like you've just figured out how to run your business in Command, and you've lost an $18,000 a year expense.
Yeah, well, about 36 once you throw in the ad spend a year, which is like a great admin person, right? So yeah, it was just a matter of really digging into Command and recognizing that you're right. Like you said, with the washing machine, I'm still getting my leads converted. As a matter of fact, it's prettier and more user-friendly in Command. It's kind of like am I willing to save 36 grand for a couple of speed bumps and hiccups along the way? Of course I am. And so that's where we went with it.
Well, yeah, and that's you bring up a good point there, and I think it's funny. I was I'm not going to name names, but I used a different CRM before Command, believe it or not, and I used a different one before that, and I started my real estate career with a different one before that. And when you're paying, whether it's $25 a month or $2,500 a month for any piece of technology, it's so funny how quickly we change our business practices to wrap around that really expensive tool, because we think, well, if I'm paying this amount of money every month, I'm certainly going to get the most out of it. So if that means I need to change how I'm doing things in order to make that happen, I'm going to do it. I think sometimes we don't think about the product that we get for free the same way because it's free. So we just assume that it should do whatever we want it to do in exactly the way that it currently works in any one of the other systems on the planet. So I'd encourage you, if this is something you're thinking about, to start to look at it the same way you look at any other tool you pay for, which is, I may have to make some slight adjustments to my business in order for this to work exactly the way I think or want it to work. We've built Command around the systems and models of the MREA. And that's how it was designed from the beginning. And I don't know how many of you guys remember, I'm gonna do the screen share thing again. But I don't know how many of you guys remember this picture. So if the picture I showed you was from the next version of the MREA, you all remember this from the first version. And what this is that lead generate business where everything lives, right? We've got our core advocates and our allied resources at the middle, and then we move all the way out. Command was built starting in the center of this circle and working its way out, meaning we have to capture and we have to take care of all of those things Gary told us to do in the MREA. Build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it systematically, right? And I think by and large, most people on this call get their business from the bucket that I would call people I know or people that know someone I know, right? My sphere, my past clients, and referrals from my sphere and my past clients. And I'm not saying that's all your business, but for most of us, that's a significant portion of our business, usually more than half, and some of us approaching almost all of it. And that's not to say that other systems don't do that also. However, a lot of the other systems that we use are built with the purpose of trying to create people you don't know and turn them into people you know, right? And I'm certainly also not going to tell you that Command can't create new people that you don't know for you. I'm sure there's plenty of people on this call, myself, and I know Julie included, that have seen massive success generating new business through campaigns and Facebook ads. So if you think about the fact that when we built this and when Gary had and Josh had this vision, it was to make sure that your business is taken care of at the most core level first, and then work our way out. And so we want to make sure that you can nurture your Met database. We want to make sure you can feed that Met database every day, and we want to make sure you can communicate with it systematically. And I will take the Pepsi challenge with anyone that Command can do those three things as well as any system out there. I see some, Paul, I see some stuff running through here in the chat. Market Center allowing you to submit documents. I'm sure that's something that, I don't know how many of your market centers are or are not using compliance and Command already. My market center here in Austin, we are making the full-time switch July 1st. So we've got about a week left before we have to do it that way. Now, I've been doing it that way for a number of months, and we've had the option of doing it either way for them. I think one of the big myths we run into often is I have to change my CRM in order to do my compliance through Command. That's not true. The only thing you have to do in order to submit for compliance in Command is create an opportunity. And in order to do that, you must create a contact. So you have to have a contact, you have to have an opportunity, and then all you have to do is upload documents. So if currently you're using Dotloop for that, right? You're using Dotloop for your e-signature, you're using it for documents, and you're using it for compliance, the compliance piece goes away, right? You can still use Dotloop, you can use DocuSign, which you get with Command, or you can use anything else you want, zip forms or whatever other forms libraries you may have. So don't be scared of that. And I think it's a myth we hear a lot is, oh, we're switching to compliance and Command and I have to switch my CRM. That's not true. Jen, thank you so much. Can you give us some insight on how we can upload our own PDFs to send out with an email campaign? So it's funny you asked that question. I just got an update earlier today that Command Mail is now live in campaigns as well. So Command Mail was only working in smart plans, and now Command Mail is working for campaigns as well. What you're going to see coming in really short term is very similar to what you saw in eEdge, meaning there was a bunch of templated emails there that you could send out. And I think we're all comfortable with the fact that those maybe weren't the most rich in content, but they were something that we could send out on our behalf. I think what people can do now, Jen, in your situation would be the monthly neighborhood nurture to me is one of the best recurring emails you can send out. It's real estate specific information. It changes every month and it comes from you directly to your clients, and it's for their neighborhood or neighborhoods. So that's the one email that I think everyone should be on. If I was doing anything in Command with my sphere to begin with, it would be get them in, put them on the quarterly phone call plan, and put them on the monthly neighborhood nurture. But you're going to start to see more robust campaigns and email campaigns in designs, very much like you see designs now. There will be a section there for emails as well. Think happy birthday, think home anniversary, think holidays, all that stuff is coming to designs as well, so you can use it that way. I hope that answers your question. Scott, good to see you, man. It's been too long. Are we able to run ads using Command Facebook ads capabilities and point the leads to our other system if we're not ready to make the switch to Command? That's a little bit of a more wicked problem, is how we get those leads out of Command and over to, say, a Boomtown or something else that you're using. All of the leads that come into Command if you run Facebook ads also live in Facebook. And if you have an API from Facebook to Boomtown, and I don't know if that exists, I'm sure it works with Zapier, where you can zap directly from Facebook to Boomtown, and maybe vice versa. That's what I would do. And then just let them keep flowing into Command. And at some point, whenever you're ready to bring more of your business over to Command, just delete everyone that's already in there. You can just wipe your database clean at that time. So yeah, you can certainly do that. I mean, the leads we're seeing, I interviewed a guy that used a very similar system to the one you mentioned in your post the other day. His name's Tyler Shields. And Paul's actually going to be sending an email about this to your region tomorrow with the interview. This was a guy that's getting almost 3 times the ROI on his spend in Facebook versus his spend in another third-party CRM that happens to be the one you wrote in your comment. And he tracked it over the course of 2 months. He spent the same amount of money in both systems. He has 20,000 in pending GCI from both systems. Just the leads in Command were at almost 1/3 the cost they were in Boomtown. So. Danny, question about messenger marketing. I don't know. I don't have any timeline on when we're going to have any messenger marketing in Command. So sorry, I can't answer that question. Sorry, I can't help you there. Kathy, back to emails, still using eEdge for emails, which I'm customizing. Is that going away? And can I do that in Command so I don't have to double enter my contacts? I don't know. Is eEdge going away? At some point, I'm sure we'll end that relationship with eEdge, but right now you can still use it as I can. I think if you like those emails, the question I would ask you is, what is it you like about those emails? And this is something I had to take a real hard look in the mirror myself when I moved my business over to Command. This is kind of an embarrassing story to tell because I thought it was so cool and it turned out not to be. When I first started in real estate, every year between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would order nothing bundt cakes. And I don't know if you guys know what those are, but they're those little tiny or large cakes that have the delicious frosting on top that I could eat all day long. And I hand delivered them to all my clients my first year. And I didn't think about the fact that that doesn't really scale. And so when you only have 25-ish clients your first year, that's easy to do. And then the next year I did it again at, all of my clients up until that point. And I did that every year in real estate. And every year it took more manpower. It cost me more money. It took me more time. And I continued to do this all the way up until last December. And my business partner's father passed away, and we just had a lot going on at the end of the year and didn't get around to doing it. And I was for sure that was like, man, I'm going to be losing business because I didn't deliver the cakes. I didn't get one phone call or text message about where are my bundt cakes. And you're probably asking, where's this conversation going? I realized in that moment that everything that I did, whether or not I thought it was valuable, and I thought this was valuable to my people, they didn't always care. And it wasn't valuable to them. And if it was valuable to them, they probably would have called and texted and said, hey, I didn't get my bundt cakes this year. Some of these people I had been delivering to them 5-6 years in a row, right? And so as you make the move potentially, or as you look at your 36 touch or your 51 touch or your 97 touch, whatever it is, examine it from the mindset of, if I stopped doing this today, would anyone care? And if the answer to that question is no, the challenge isn't to just remove it from your 36 touch plan. It's to insert something that would actually move the needle for them. And so, and I'm not saying your emails are this way, by the way. You actually make your own emails and send to your list, it looks like. So you can make your own emails in Command, and you can send bulk email through Command in campaigns with either Command Mail or with MailChimp. So either one of those works. Jordan, what size of KW and Command user database do we have any leverage with DocuSign to suggest improvements? We are working on that. So my counterpart here, if I represent the voice of the agent inside of KWRI, my partner Kelly Cody represents the voice of leadership. And she is working very hard on that right now, is to try and expand our the powers you have in DocuSign. And I know for a lot of teams that's a struggle. I think, so I was a .loop Teams user beforehand, and I don't know how many of you guys on this call are using .loop Teams, meaning I paid above and beyond the free version of .loop. I paid not a small amount of money to do that. So my admin kind of had overarching rights to everyone on our team's accounts, right? She had her own login that could see inside everyone's universe. If you're using .loop Teams at a high level, my suggestion would be to keep using it. Again, Paul and I's job is to not try to convince you that Command's the right move for you. It's to try and help you run more efficient, more profitable businesses. If you're using .loop Teams at a high level and you try out a transaction or two in Command and it seems more clunky or like it takes more time because of DocuSign, not necessarily because of the Command piece, I'd encourage you to stay with .loop Teams. They both integrate with Command in the same way, meaning I can connect .loop the same way I can connect DocuSign. So if the only hang up there is the .loop portion of it, then feel free to keep using .loop and use it that way. So hopefully that's helpful, Jordan.
Just going back to Scott wanting to run ads within Command and point it to another system. The only workaround right now, Scott, I can show you. I'll just share my screen. If you go to your business Facebook page, so this is ours here for our region. All you got to do, top right hand corner, select your Facebook page. you can select more, go to publishing tools, and then on the left-hand side, you're going to click on under lead ad forms, click on the forms library. You'll see all the ads that you've run through command for your Facebook page. And then you'll see all your leads. See, these 37 leads came up, and you can go ahead and download it in a CSV file and upload it within your whatever system you're using. So that's just a little workaround right now. But to David's point, certainly there's going to be things that, that are more useful and less clunky per se than what Command's offering right now. But I would encourage and urge all of you to check back in, because as we're progressing, in my short time at KWRI, we've advanced so much, and there's so much coming on with the roadmap ahead. Isn't that right, David?
Yeah, there's a ton coming down the pipeline. We actually just stood up a brand new team recently to help move some other initiatives forward. So we're still working very quickly, and we're still working very diligently, especially around team capabilities. I can tell you that every single Monday, we spend from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on a Zoom call with all of our product managers, Josh, Gary, myself, Jason, Kelly, and we talk about tech for the entire day. And one of the biggest initiatives we have right now is team functionality in Command, and making sure this works in a way that makes sense for the largest teams in our company, not just the smaller versions, but everything all the way up to the top. And we're making sure that happens. And I get it, right? It's hard to change. And we're not here to advocate that change is right for everyone. I'm also not here to advocate that everyone's first step into the system looks the same, right? For someone like Scott and the Kenny Klaus team, it might be the first thing I do is start running some campaigns, right? Like that's where I find the most value today. It might be for any other team, I want to use opportunities, right? I don't want to lose track of people because opportunities works really well for me, and it makes sense of my pipeline. For other people, it might be I want to start working my sphere in Command. I just want to work my sphere and pass clients there, and I'm going to keep my cold lead generation coming in another place. That makes sense too. So our job, and like I said, I put my Calendly link there. I know Paul is open to this. Our goal is to help you understand for your business what makes sense, and help us understand what your struggles are and where you can find some more efficiencies. I think we use the term workaround a lot, and I don't necessarily love that, because it makes it seem like Command doesn't do the things I need it to do as an agent, and it absolutely does do it. It just doesn't do it the same way you're used to making it happen. And again, Paul's job, my job, a lot of our Market Center tech trainers, which I see a couple of them are on this call, our job is to help you figure out the how. We can make sure the how works if you are the compass on the what. Right? What are you trying to accomplish? Let us figure out how it happens, and then let's march together and hopefully move your business forward. Yeah, it looks like Anthony's got a good solution there on Zapier and Facebook, and are in Command full time. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, guys. It's a huge platform. Back to the understanding, we all know that as large of businesses that all of you have, how you do things is vastly different. Another bad cell phone analogy, but I never use the compass on my cell phone, and I use the calculator almost every day. Because if it's not multiplying something by 3%, I don't really know the answer. So just because I don't use the compass on my phone doesn't mean that my phone's worthless to me, right? There's other things there that make sense. It's the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the value I get out of Command is from 20% of the applets. Full disclosure, I don't use designs. Like, my team doesn't use designs. We have all of our graphic assets. They're somewhere. My marketing person handles it. We don't really make new ones all that often. That's not a piece that makes it happen to me, right? Opportunities, I think, is amazing. Like, it's the first time that I've been able to really hold my agents accountable to making sure they're following up with the right people, and that they're focused on the right people, and they're not forgetting about anyone. I love contacts. Like, to me, understanding who's on the quarterly phone call and the monthly neighborhood nurture is super easy to me. I love the fact that I can connect spouses. I love that the neighborhoods are there. I love that it's all on one sheet. So find the piece or two pieces or three pieces that make sense and move your business forward, and use them. And Paul and I are here to help with that. Thank you, Julie Youngblood. I appreciate that. That was hopefully you were talking about my analogy, not someone else's, and I'm not taking their credit.
So guys, any more questions? I mean, we've only got David here for a limited amount of time, so please take advantage. But David, do we just want to talk about the 5 applets that we're going after for people to adopt more so?
Yeah, I think, it's about knowing where to start. And if I can find my command screen somewhere, there it is. So when we think about command, I think there's a handful of logical places to start. And can you guys see my screen? Nope, not yet. There you go.
Yeah.
You can see it now. So this is my actual Teams command account. This is our dashboard, right? And when you think about all the applets on the left, to me, it's hard to use command without using contacts. So I think most people end up there at some point. You can use designs, no problem, without contacts. You could technically, in the case of Scott that he mentioned, you could use campaigns without using contacts because you could be porting those contacts somewhere else. But I think when I think about where it makes the most sense to me, it's contacts, it's smart plans around those contacts, it's opportunities, it's campaigns, it's designs if you want to use new design assets. And that's where I would start. And the other piece is consumer, right? Is how are you attaching people to your consumer app? So those would be the 5, 6 applets that I think if Paul and I were to get on an individual call with anyone here, the first thing we'd want to understand is your business at a much deeper level, right? This conversation starts with who you are and what kind of business do you run and how can we help and where are you feeling pain today and how can we alleviate some of that pain? I mean, for me, I mentioned that opportunities is my favorite, right? So what I see here is my whole opportunities pipeline. I have, my cultivate buyers and sellers. And if I go here to cultivate, I'm going to just select an agent on my team named Chloe and put her on the spot. These are all of Chloe's cultivate opportunities. These are all of the people that Chloe thinks are going to hire a real estate agent in the next 12 months. And what you'll see is that every one of them has one incomplete task, hopefully. Yes, they all do. What that is for me is this is where I start all of my coaching meetings with Chloe. So I'm busy at KWRI all day, 5 days a week, but I still handle the coaching and accountability for her. And this just shows me that Chloe has her next follow-up set with every one of these people. And so here we go. She's got a check-in set for July the 1st. So all of these things are Chloe's next follow-up. And you might ask, like, okay, well, why wouldn't that follow-up be attached to the contact record? One really cool thing I think Command does, absent of any other system that I'm aware of, is separating the person and the deal. In most other systems today, the contact record is the one place that everything lives, right? It's the place where all of my notes live, regardless if the note's about a transaction or if it's about a relationship. It's where all of the emails live that I've sent to this person or received from this person. Command has separated those two things, understanding that if Paul is a client in my database, that Paul's going to be a client in my database, hopefully for many years to come, and that's going to be many, many transactions. And what I'm able to do is if I think of Paul's contact record as his master Google Drive folder, then every opportunity that Paul ever does is a subfolder of Paul. Meaning I can now grab all of the information about the opportunity and keep it in one place to live forever. And I don't have to junk up my contact record with Paul in order to make that happen. And here's the example, right? The example is, and I'm going to click on this one, is I actually, almost all of the communication that I have with any individual client happens around a transaction. It doesn't happen around my conversations. So along with both contacts and opportunities, places to leave notes on either of them, we also have tasks that pertain to contacts and tasks that pertain to opportunities. Where am I going with this? I actually, for Loretta here, you can see David's the owner of this contact and David's assigned to her contact record. That means David's responsible for maintaining the relationship. It's my job for any task that relates to the relationship with Loretta. If I go back to this opportunity, you can see David and Chloe are both on the opportunity, meaning Chloe's job is to move this deal forward. David's job is to move the relationship forward. So it's a really easy separation for me as a rainmaker, right? Our jobs as rainmakers is to create opportunities for the people on their team. How does this help? It helps with the fact that I can maintain all the relationships and hand out the deals all day long. If I'm the one that's always maintaining the relationship, I insulate anyone leaving my team and taking anyone with them, because I've been the one responsible for maintaining that relationship the whole time. Example, I set up the quarterly phone call plan. That's a contact task. That's a relationship building task. David does it. I need to call Loretta about her home inspection. Chloe does it. It's about the opportunity. It's about moving the deal forward. So that's how we separate things in our world, is relationship versus transaction. And they're different, and they may be assigned to different people, right? There's many transaction tasks that happen around an opportunity that my admin does, or my client care does, or that the other agent I've handed the deal off to does. Who's responsible for maintaining the relationship? That's one person. You can only assign a contact record to one person, because you want to know who's the person you hold accountable for making sure that they get invited to your client events, or that they get their quarterly phone call, or in my case, that they get their nothing buns cake that they don't care about between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I think thinking about those two worlds separately is eye-opening for a lot of people, because most systems don't allow you to do that today. What else can we do, guys? We got a few minutes left, I know, and I want to make sure we're mindful of your time. I know that it's only 2 o'clock in most of your worlds, right? Is it? Do you have anywhere in the region right now that it's mountain time?
No, not that I know of.
That's only those crazy people in Phoenix that don't change the time ever.
We did have.
You're not that. You guys are not that crazy, Scott. You're right. It's all of Arizona, right? Arizona is their own time.
So Anthony was asking, how do you handle super important notes? Is there a way to pin a note at the top, either now or on the roadmap?
Let me see. I don't really that's not something that we do in our world. Not necessarily not something we don't do, but it's not something that we as part of our plan. Let me grab my screen again. So there's notes. There's a notes field on the contact record, which is right here. And then if I go to her opportunity, there's a note section here. I don't think there's a way to pin either of them, but it does tell you who did it, and you can sort by most recent. There is a discussion section up here. So in the top right corner of the opportunity is discussion. So my team, we actually still use Slack to manage all of our inter-team communication, just because it makes sense for us. And we've been doing it for a long time. But I could create a discussion on this opportunity that's going to function in a very similar way. Meaning I could mention someone, so I could go at Chloe. Did you talk to Loretta recently? And hit send. And once I add that message here, I can pin this message, but this is more of a discussion and not really a note. So I think of this as a conversation piece. I don't know if that really answers your question, Anthony, but that's how I would do it today.
Great.
For Twilio, when someone responds to the text message, do you get notified, or do you have to log into Command to see that? Our Twilio partners, right now, you'll see that as a response on their contact record. I believe it shows up as a notification in the notification icon, and also in Kelly. I think you get notifications in all 3 places. We've never actually had what we would call a formal relationship with Twilio. And that's changing right now. We're in the middle of making a lot of integrations with Twilio to make that, just to give you a lot more functionality with that tool inside of the system. Picture messages, video messages, all of those things are coming, as well as a way for a team to buy a group of numbers and own them all. Meaning if Paul and Julie and I are on a team, I can, as the Rainmaker, buy 3 numbers and assign 2 of those numbers out to Paul and Julie. And if they ever leave the team, I can keep those numbers and assign them to a new agent that fills their seat. So that's one of the things that's coming with Twilio.
So just real quick, in summary, so again, Command's there to help you guys run your businesses at a higher level. We want you to be more efficient, more profitable. We don't want you to turn your backs on things that have been working for you, but at the same time, just be open to how much Command can really elevate your business. Moving forward, David and I, we are going to, again, this is the link in the chat form where we're going to ask you to input some of your information, and we're going to schedule a call with you guys one-on-one. And just to show you, these are the 5 applets that we are going after. Contacts with smart plans. We want 100% of your sphere imported and tagged. And there are certain parameters for these guys, for these applets to be checked off. And so we're going to be working with you intimately and your market center tech trainer to make this happen and allow you guys to run your businesses at a higher level. There's a few more kind of comments there, David.
Yeah, I'd say to what Paul just said, right? Like anyone who wants to have an individual conversation, right? It's impossible for us to speak to 200 or 80 or whatever the number was that was on here at one point. It's possible for us to address each of your individual businesses because they're all unique. So we'd love to have that one-on-one conversation. We'd love to figure out if we can find some wins for you in the system. And we have an extremely detailed plan on how to make that happen in the easiest way possible. So, Kathy's question, I think, is around MailChimp, MailChimp and email. So you can use MailChimp for campaigns if you'd like, or you can use Command Mail. Every user with Command Mail gets 5,000 emails a month. And you have a counter you'll be able to see in Command that shows you exactly where you're at along the way. If you love MailChimp and want to keep using it, by all means, feel free to keep using it. It integrates as well for campaigns, so you can use whichever one works best for you. Jen, there is a testimonials widget, I believe, on the website. Full disclosure, I'm not a big user of my real estate website. We kind of use it as a digital business card. It's just a way for people that get referred to us or want to Google us to see a little bit about our team and who we are. So we don't use it a lot because we just don't really get any business from there. So we don't spend a lot of time, energy, or effort around it. However, there is a great guy. His name's Chris Ha. I'll actually put his contact information. If you guys saw, my business partner, for the record, is huge on the website. He wants it to be fancy and look good. And I'll send you mine right now. So that second web address is my team's website. It is a Command website. It's just got a skin over the top of it that the company above, Bullseye, helped us create. And so if you want to use your Command website as a website, similar to how you were using Playster, you want to get rid of an expense there is ways to shiny that object up a little bit and make it look a little more custom for your world. Looks like people aren't seeing it.
I see it.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so feel free to take a look, and anything we can do. Our job is, I'll show you. I can just share my screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I only did it to panelists.
I'll just retype it for you.
Perfect. So I'll show you. So this is my website, and this is our Command website. So you can see we've got our virtual resources here, meet the team, testimonials. All this is stuff that it's just a skin over the top of our Command website. So we don't even have any lead generation stuff here. Like it's literally a digital business card. So if people go looking for us, they want to know how we give back to our community, they can click that and see. This is the people that we help every year. If they want to have testimonials, if they want to know about buying or selling. So this is again our Command website, and we paid some additional money because we wanted it to look a little bit shinier, and we had a really good experience with Chris.
Great. Well, I think that's a great session. Thanks so much, David, for coming and joining us and giving your time. But I certainly hope we all got a lot of value out of that. Please do touch base with us with that link so we can get in touch with you, work with you, and get your businesses performing at a high level.
Yeah, guys, we want to help. So any way we can do, fill out the form for Paul, and I'd love to hopefully see you guys in some one-on-one conversations and figure out how we can help.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
That's it.
Take care.